Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp, and today I'm going to be doing a video on Enochian magic. This particular video is going into some level of detail on the meaning behind one of the most recognizable symbols of Enochian magic, and that is the Sigillum Dei Aemeth. The design on the wax seal, the seal of beeswax, that is used as part of the magical tools in an Enochian ritual to summon angels in order to communicate with them. And it's a very complicated symbol, as you can see. The basis of it is this seven-pointed figure and the multiple layers of that figure with different letters and different names around the perimeter. So the purpose of this video is to explain what each of those names is. And I've got this handy series of diagrams to help me do that. If you've always wondered what the hidden secrets and the hidden meaning of the Sigillum Dei Aemeth is, this is the video for you. And if you're new to Enochian magic, or you want to see the other videos that I've done on Enochian magic, I will link those in the description below. I might get around to putting them in a single playlist. If I do that, then I'll link the playlist in the description below. So what is the meaning of Sigillum Dei Aemeth? It means the seal of the truth of God, or the seal of God's truth in Latin. And basically what it is a physical representation of the very highest divine powers that command the cosmos. And it's arranged in this sort of sevenfold pattern. So John Dee was he was a Kabbalist, but also very much a Hermeticist. So he believed that the heaven was divided into seven divisions based on the 7 planets, and he spent much of his life trying to explore this theme, in even reconciling the 7 into one, as he tried to do in his seminal work, the Monas Hieroglyphica. And what the Sigillum Dei Aemeth really does is it continues on this theme of the sevenfold governance of the universe, of the heavens, attributed to one of the 7 classical planets for each of those divisions. And what John Dee has done is he has created this division, the sevenfold division, and then within each of the 7 divisions there is a series of angels that are at a different point in the hierarchy of angels, from planetary angels to sephirothic angels, all the way up to the god names that give rise to everything else in creation. So what you end up with is, one of the 7 divisions, say, of the sun, and then within that you've got a planetary angel, a sephirothic angel, and then the god names above that, which represent the very highest division of the heavens within that 7th portion. And that's what each of the sides of the diagram represent, is one of the 7 planets, and then the various layers going from inward out in the diagram represent some other part of this hierarchy. So the outermost circle and the outermost sections of the sigil represent the highest order of the heavens, and the innermost represent the closest to the earth. So the outer circumference of the sigillum contains a number of very powerful god names, and then 2 layers contain some other very powerful names, and then we get down to the names of angelic entities after that. And a lot of these names are confusing jumbles of numbers and letters, particularly letters, which leaves one wondering, where exactly are these different names derived from? And that is what I've put these diagrams up on the board to explain. So there's at least 3 different methods for deriving the various names on the Sigillum Dei Aemeth. I'll begin with the outermost layer, the highest, and work my way in and explain what each of those names means, and what that kind of order of angelic or heavenly entity represents in terms of its function in Dee's wider view of the cosmos. So the first 2 layers, this outermost circumference here, followed by these sections here with these odd symbols, which look like sort of sigil-like symbols in their own right, represent the 7 God names. So these aspects of the cosmic hierarchy, as the name suggests, could probably be considered emanations of the Godhead itself, into 7 different categories, and represents the very highest level of this sevenfold division of the heavens. And the beings that dwell here, that are named in these outermost layers, are the ones from whom all of the other planetary angels, whether it be in the Enochian system or elsewhere, ultimately draw their spiritual power. They can only operate with the authority of these 7 God names. So in the outer circumference, we have the cipher that was used to reveal what the 7 names were, and D was a master cryptographer, so that shows through on this part of the sigillum. And then the second most layer, directly after the circumference, has these different symbols, and each of these symbols represents one of these 7 God names. So we have symbols for Galas, Gethog, Thaoth, Horlun, Enon, Aoth, and finally Galathog. And you'll notice from the last name that the name Galathog is actually spelt out by the rest of the sigils, which has led many to speculate that Galathog is in fact the chief among these highest spirits representing the 7 God names. The next layer in on the sigillum is this one here, indicated by this symbol on the board. This is where the forces from which are derived the 7 sephirothic archangels of the planets can be located. So in Hermeticism, you've got the 7 planets, which represent, the 7 planetary energies fairly close to the Earth. The Sephiroth of the Tree of Life are considered a more heavenly octave than that of the physical planets, but 7 of the Sephiroth from Kabbalah represent 7 of the planets. So it's like a higher vibrational energy of that planetary energy embodied in the Sephirothic energy of the planet. And there are archangels for the planets, and then there are archangels of the planetary Sephiroth above that. And now sitting above that, we have a series of beings who are so high that the Sephirothic angels actually are derived from those higher beings. And the way that that is depicted in the Sigillum Dei Aemeth is by way of the first of 2 word squares, which are referred to as the Sevenfold Tables. And here in the first Sevenfold Table, we can see here are the names of the Sephirothic archangels according to Agrippa, which seems to have been adopted by D and Kelley in their Enochian system. Zafkiel for Saturn, Zadkiel for Jupiter, Camael for Mars, Raphael for the Sun, Haniel for Venus, Michael for Mercury, which is unusual because in modern Hermeticism, Michael is often seen as a solar angel, and indeed Raphael is seen as a mercurial angel. But this is the way that Agrippa attributed these archangels to the 7 planetary Sephiroth. And then finally, we have Gabriel for the moon, the Sephiroth of the moon. And you'll see each of these names, Zafkiel, Zadkiel, and so on, are placed in the vertical columns of the first Sevenfold Table. And you can tell where one name begins by the use of a capital letter here. Once the names have been arranged like so, when you read each of these rows crossways, you get the 7 names of this particular layer of the Sigillum Dei Aemeth. And this is all to represent that the Sephirothic angels derive their power, derive their being from these even higher angels. The next layer of the diagram I'm going to talk about going in is these bits here, as indicated by this symbol on the chart. These are again the names of higher beings from which angels' names are derived. So I talked about the difference between the Sephirothic angels of the planets and the planetary angels. Well, these names in this 4th layer of the sigillum are those entities from whom the planetary angels are derived. And as with the earlier category of angels from which the Sephirothic angels are derived, we have a word square to symbolize that. So this is the second sevenfold table, the second of 2 sevenfold tables that are used to generate the various names on the Sigillum Dei Aemeth. And this one, unlike the first sevenfold table, which makes use of the Sephirothic angels' names, the second sevenfold table makes use of the 7 planetary angels' names as they were given to Dee and Kelley, the 7 planetary angels in the Enochian system. And they are Sabathiel for Saturn, Zedekiel for Jupiter, Madimiel for Mars, Semeliel for the Sun, Mogahel for Venus, Corabiel for Mercury, and Lavanael for the Moon. And much like in the first sevenfold table, we see in the rows going from left to right the names of the various angels in that part of the diagram. But unlike in the previous layer of the sigillum, where the angels whose names were ultimately derived from these greater names were written vertically in the diagram, as symbolized by this little symbol here, the vertical arrows, they are instead hidden within this word square in a kind of zigzag pattern, as I've tried to roughly kind of indicate here. So we have, for example, Sabathiel up here in Saturn. In some places, instead of having the final letters, there is a cipher with a series of numbers to indicate a series of letters, usually L or something like that, to end that particular name. And so by using these kind of ciphers and these kind of numbers to stand in for letters at the end of certain letters in the square, all the names are squeezed into a 7 by 7 square for 49 squares in total. And with this method is generated the names in this 4th layer of the sigillum. The names Sieme, Betskase, Haidene, Deimoa, Imekbe, Ilaun, and Ihula, or at least that's the closest approximation to a pronunciation that we can have, given we don't know the exact value of some of these numbers. The next layers down in the diagram, the next 4 layers, will be considered together. That's this one, this one, this one, and this one. These layers of the sigillum are where the names of angelic beings are given who are otherwise known as the family of light. There's 4 categories of these beings. There's the sons of light, the daughters of light, the sons of light, and the daughters of light. And according to the journals of Dee and Kelley in their Enochian communications with the angels, these were the angelic beings who ministered to another set of angelic beings known as the kings of the Heptarchia, who are basically just another category of planetary angel who governed the universe in the name of that particular planetary energy. And there's a whole system of the heptarchia within Enochian magic that is designed just to work with those particular angels. But these spirits, the family of light, are related to the angels of the heptarchia in their functions. So in terms of getting the names of these 4 orders of angels that lie within the Sigillum Dei Aemeth, they are again generated from the second sevenfold table. And you can see here that by tracing a slightly different pattern on the second sevenfold table, we get the names for the different orders of angels. So the daughters of light are derived by tracing a line diagonally down this way on the diagram, the first half of the diagram to here. The sons of light by tracing the same pattern this way. The daughters of light by tracing a diagonal pattern this way. And the sons of light by tracing the diagonal on the other half of the square this way. And this generates 7 names for each of these orders of angel, and it means that one name will be 1 letter, the next name will be 2 letters, and so on until the final 7th name contains 7 letters. Now, you'll notice that when it comes to the planetary attribution of the family of light, I've only included the attributions for one group, and that is the sons of light. And there's a reason for that. So it's not always clear from the source material what the planetary correspondence of these various sevenfold angels are supposed to be. We know with certainty what the planetary attributions of the Sephirothic angels are, because these are from the system of Agrippa. We know with certainty what the Enochian planetary angels are, and which angel is associated with which planet. And this is reflected in the fact that I've included in red the planetary symbol of the particular angel next to these angels here. But you'll see that I haven't done that for the others, only for the sons of light. And that's because we don't actually know what the planetary attributions are, and that includes for the sevenfold names of God. But we can tell what the attributions are for the sons of light because, well, there's 2 reasons. Firstly, because in the journals of Dee and Kelley, in their communications with the angels, we're told that each one of these is associated with one of the days of the week, and by knowing which planet is associated with which day of the week, we can know which of the sons of light is attributed to which planet. And then the second way that we can know is because if you look at the system of the heptarchia that I spoke about earlier, one of the aspects of the Enochian system of magic, there's a series of seals of each of the heptarchic kings. And in some of the seals of the heptarchic kings, we see the names of certain sons of light appearing again. And so by looking at which names appear in the seals of the heptarchic kings, and we know what planet that heptarchic king is the king of, we can know which son of light can be attributed to which planet. And it backs up exactly the attributions with the days of the week. I have included for this daughter of light, Ized, the planet Venus, the attribution of that planet, because she does appear as well in one of the seals of the kings of the heptarchia. She appears in the seal of the king of Venus, together with Rockley, the son of light of Venus. But it's a bit of a mystery what the rest of the planetary attributions are, and if I was in my early 20s again, and I had the time that I had then to really do a deep dive into the mysteries of Enochian magic and trying to unlock all of the hidden little mysteries within Enochian magic that still haven't been solved, I might put myself to that task. But I'll probably leave it to somebody with more time on their hands than me. But here's a few little hints about, to get you started on the journey of discovering what those attributions might be. The final layer of the sigillum to consider is this final central layer. These are the same names that appear here. They are the names of the planetary angels in the Enochian system, arranged in this way on the sigillum. And they represent the lowest level of this angelic hierarchy because they represent the physical planets to some extent, the closest part of the cosmos to our physical Earth. And so all of these angels and their power is kind of compacted into this one symbol, and their power is harnessed and their authority is harnessed in order to unlock the secrets of the universe through the use of Enochian magic. You might regard this as kind of like the coding language of the manifest universe and of the heavens, divided according to the governorship of the 7 planets. By having the names of the various forces that govern the heavens, by calling upon those names, you can compel the universe to share its secrets. If you can name a thing, you can know it. If you can name a thing, to some extent you can control it, or know how it can be controlled, or at least how it can be worked with. And that is the rationale behind having all of these names in the sigil. So you'll notice that I didn't talk about the angels of the circumference too much, or the names, I should say, of the circumference. That is because it's quite a complex kind of a topic in its own right. And when I do talk about it, there are some other little hidden secrets that haven't really been spoken about much in Enochian scholarship to date, about other little names and other powers that are hidden within that part of the symbol. So I'm going to do a subsequent video talking about the names of the circumference, how the cipher of that circumference works, and how it can be used to generate the names, including an 8th hidden name, which has only really been spoken about in a very few places only recently. And I'm also going to talk about some other little mysteries and ciphers that surround the various names and letters of the Sigillum Dei Aemeth. So there's going to be a bit more groundbreaking stuff in that video, so I'm saving it all up for that. But if you've enjoyed this and you enjoy delving into the secrets of Enochian magic, I would highly recommend you watch my next Enochian video, which will be covering all of that material. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I've somewhat summarized the meanings of the different names in the Sigillum Dei Aemeth and their purpose. If you did enjoy this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel to support my work, subscribe to me on Odyssey as well, and leave any comments that you have down below. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.